So, Julie, tell me a little bit about what you do. It sounds like you have an incredible career that you have.
Oh, I appreciate you saying that, Sammy. But I would say I'm a woman that has been trying to reinvent myself for at least the past decade. I had a pretty substantial career uh, before the one that I'm working on right now. So I'm a reinvented woman. I started my journey in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, like I mentioned. I was a child medium. So dead people started talking to me when I was 8 years old, and that led me to be very fascinated with death and taxidermy. I grew up gutting deer, and I mean, I stole all the other kids' frog corneas in biology and made a necklace out of the frog corneas. I mean, I had a deep passion for science and art, which I was encouraged my last year of high school to go to mortuary college and study reconstructive cosmetic artistry. So that's what I did. I went to Boca Raton, straight from Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania to Boca Raton, Florida, to Lynn University, and I'm a trained mortician. So that's where I thought my career was going, and that's not where it ended up. I was in my last semester, and I had an outer body experience that led me to understand that I had done that work in a previous lifetime, but that's not what I was supposed to be doing in this lifetime. So I pivoted into a career as a healer. So for 20 plus years in Florida, I had a healing clinic in Vero Beach, Florida, where I work with people with my hands. I'm an energy worker. It's really kind of hard to explain what a
Are you
healer
talking about
is.
Reiki?
No, I've never did Reiki.
Okay.
I don't subscribe. I have my own healing powers, and I don't need anyone to give me a special mantra or teach me
Oh,
how
okay,
to do
okay.
it. But people that don't have skill, that need to find skill, go and get trained in those types of modalities. But I was already accustomed to work with energy prior to massage therapy school. So I opened up a healing clinic, and I worked with people for 20 plus years. And then I moved to California in 2012 looking to reinvent myself. I was also a yoga therapist. So, using tools of yoga for healing. And I got to Los Angeles, and I looked around, and I thought, nah, this isn't really what I want to continue doing. So I hired some consultants that helped me to understand what my next step was, which was a product line. And in 2014, I came up with the idea for Fatale, the world's first fermented cocktail mix line. I didn't really know what it was at the time. It sort of came over me like a lot of times my intuition does, and it's much larger than me as an individual. So I followed the signs, and it led me to raising $500,000 in capital. And I tried to launch the company in 2015. I formulated 5 cocktail mixes that got me selected for BevNet Startup Beverage of the Year Showdown, which gave me international attention on a platform in front of the largest beverage executives in the world. A month later, I ran out of capital. I lost everything. I was bankrupt and homeless in Los Angeles. I don't recommend it. And it wasn't an easy journey. So I became a life coach because I needed one. And uh, in that process of becoming a life coach, I discovered or rediscovered that in order to find success in this life, sometimes you need to fake it till you make it. So I started doing probiotic mocktail pop-up bars in Los Angeles, and I found myself very successful in what I was doing, and was able to raise more capital. And that's what I did. I launched the company 2 months before COVID, and was picked up by Erewhon Market, which is a very trendy marketplace with 8 locations in Los Angeles. That was a great start for us. We now sell online and ship nationwide. So yeah, that's a little bit of the story.
That's incredible. And what is your favorite one that you formed? The favorite mocktail that you came up with?
So the whenever I came out with the idea in 2015, I had 5 formulas. And what I discovered between that interim period of failure was that, first off, you don't come out with 5 formulas at one time. That's not really the smart thing to do. So whenever I came back for the second time and basically brought the company back from death, I decided to hone in on one formula called the Shrubbucha. Shrub being a vinegar-based fruit juice, which has been repopularized from the colonial era. And my grandfather used to tell me stories about these vinegar-based drinks. And so I took the shrub and I took kombucha, which is fermented tea, and I mixed the two together into a product that is called Shrubbucha, the world's first probiotic mocktail. And I formulated it in 4 classic cocktail flavors: Cosmopolitan, Margarita, Moscow Mule or Madame Mule, and Mojito, which is mojito. And if I had to say which one of those are my favorite, I would probably have to say Cosmopolitan. I really enjoy the bubbly, effervescent, zero net sugar, 22 calories a bottle experience of pouring it into a martini glass with a little wedge of lime and having the ritual experience of a cosmopolitan without any of the guilt or sin. So I
Exactly.
would have to say that the cosmopolitan, but I love the margarita too. Some salt on a rim and with some ice and a little non-alcoholic tequila, uh, is amazing as well. But we pair well with a lot of the non-alcoholic spirit brands, and you see collaborations and giveaways on a repetitive basis on our social media. So I have a hard time picking a favorite because they're like my children. Uh, so yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I wish I would have had this for my sister's baby shower a couple of weeks ago. I mean, it was virtual, but I could at least send her something to
Yeah,
enjoy.
yeah, a lot of pregnant women find our brand and find a lot of enjoyment out of the alcohol replacement factor.
Yeah, it's a good idea, especially if you don't drink, but you want to have something fancy at a party. It's a good idea. I never would have
Absolutely.
thought of that. Yeah, it's a really good idea. I got to get
Thank you.
myself some and order some.
Definitely.
Yeah, because now that I'm getting older, it's like one glass of wine, I'm done. At least now I can pretend I'm drinking with everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day that I came up with the idea were the days where if you had a club soda, people would ask you if you were in AA or if you were pregnant at the bar.
Yes, they still
And
do that.
yeah, and that's unfortunate
It
that
is.
that's how society is. And when I came up with the product, or the idea that had me come up with the product, was really being at a concert in 2001. So I'm going to show my age a little bit. I was 24. I was at a Dave Matthews concert, and all my friends were tapping a keg of beer, and I couldn't have any. And I was sick with an autoimmune disease, which actually led me to So I grew up fermenting in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. But then when I went to mortuary school, I, fell away, left home, and all that. But when I got sick, I was sort of forced to go back to my roots. And the autoimmune is what kept me from being able to have alcohol. So it was the experience that I had 15 years prior that actually inspired a company that is incredibly relevant today.
You should hook up with some of the autoimmune groups and talk about that because my mom has autoimmune. I'm inconclusive with it. So, yeah, that's a really good idea.
In my free time.
Would you say?
In my free time, I'll do that.
Yes. Yes. What free time? I don't even know what that is, but
Yeah,
I, I could
it's no joke running a company like this.
exactly, especially if you're doing it on your own. I emphasize so, but
Yeah.
yes, especially with the autoimmune, it's just incredible. Like people don't know about it, and if you know your trigger points, if you can tolerate and not, that's good. That's good to know. I'm gonna
Yeah.
definitely keep that in mind.
Yeah, we have a lot of autoimmune people that come to the brand as well. People that are just seeking freedom from big alcohol. And, the social impact that Ferm Fatale has made as a leader in the industry. I think is really significant because I was the first one talking about this in 2014, which is why they gave me a platform to discuss it. Which now with all these brands popping up, it's really inspiring to see.
It really is. Now, did you ever do any healing work with autoimmune or work in that field at all to bring awareness?
The healing that I did wasn't specific to autoimmune. I mean, I do have a degree in nutrition, but I didn't go down that path because I was working with everybody. I wasn't working with just autoimmune. Most of my clients were billionaires that flew me around the world. So, no, I did not specifically work with autoimmune, but I would say that autoimmune has its own path to healing. And I've been on mine for virtually my whole life. This past year, I was diagnosed with Epstein-Barr virus, which I actually think triggered the autoimmune. So I've been fortunate to do a lot of self-growth work that has led me down a rabbit hole that helps me to understand that I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim to the scapegoating, gaslighting that happens within the Western medical system, and have found a lot of liberation through my own healing. And, I just try to pass along that empowerment to the people that I encounter.
It's incredible. I have Epstein-Barr too, so I know exactly what you're going through. It takes forever to get diagnosed. I'm sure you know it took forever to get diagnosed, and I was 15 at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. All I knew is that I had spots on my skin, and I thought I picked up a fungus from a massage client. And they were like, no, you have vitiligo. It's an autoimmune disease. And for years, I thought that I was a victim to that. So finding the work of the medical medium and then diving into the discovery of Epstein-Barr virus has been incredibly significant in my path to healing.
Wow. Well, I completely empathize with you, and I thank you for all you do. You're doing like between the healing
Thank
and this
you,
mocktail thing.
Sammi.
Yeah. And where can we find these mocktails? Most important question.
Fermfatale.com
Ferm
is the best place to find us. That's our website, fermfatale.com. So that's firm, like fermentation, fatale.com. And I have a 7-day cleanse on there. We have hundreds of people that are signing up for a 7-day cleanse for spring cleaning, using the probiotic mocktail as a healing tonic 3 times a day, and then following my distinct, inclusive guidelines as to what foods to incorporate. We have selective partners that offer exclusive deals whenever you sign up for our 7-day cleanse. And then, of course, we have the mocktails that you can buy all ready to drink, including the new iconic water that is infused with white quartz crystals and then fermented in Himalayan live crystals. So
that is incredible. I'm gonna go
yeah.
order some. I'm gonna go order some. Tomorrow's payday, so I will be sure to
Awesome.
make sure I get some. Well, Julie, thank you so much for taking the time today. I appreciate
Yes.
you, and we will
Thank you,
talk
Sammi.
soon. Yep.
Wonderful. Have a great one.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.